Hannah, when did you start here at the circus?
2014.
Cool. How have you liked your experience so far? You just got this new job. How's that going for you?
I did. It's a lot better than my old job.
Yeah?
And by that I mean the job that I was a copywriter, not the job that I was Kristen's assistant, because that was pretty fun.
That's good to clarify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what did you like? What do you like more about this new job rather than being like a copywriter out in the field?
I get to interface with people at this job. I think as a copywriter, you can glorify what you think the role will actually be versus what it realistically is. And it was a lot of being behind a screen and not interacting with people as much and selling people on your ideas as much as I thought it was going to be.
Rather than just being like a workhorse, kind of like
yeah, and even
pumping
just
out.
like getting to talk to people. Like you would just read my words. I wouldn't get to like talk to you.
Yeah, I think that like everyone has this idea of like agency life being this like fun, like hangout sort of thing where you're just like
Play
bouncing
ping
around.
pong,
Yeah,
drink beer.
it's not really the reality.
No.
So what would be like a word of advice to anyone going? Is that a dumb question? I don't have to ask that.
No, I
can
have to
edit that
think
out.
about it.
Or just creative in general, since there are art directors here too, and designers.
Know a lot more than your discipline, and if you don't know a lot more than your discipline, ask questions. Like even once you get into the agency world, you should be hanging out in the editing suites. You should be talking to the strategy folks. You should be talking to the media buying folks, because it can really help you bypass a lot of the bullshit that you could have avoided if you had just known a little bit more, like that the fact that your budget is not going to allow for YouTube pre-roll. You could have saved yourself a lot of pain if you had known that before you started concepting, and then knowing how to edit something or know that it was not possible before you went and shot 16,000 images of an ice cream scoop or something like that.
Yeah, Shutterstock, Shutterfly is really fun places to peruse.
Yeah, also know how to lay out a deck. That would be a good piece of advice.
I know how to do that.
Good.
Yay.
Then you'll go far as a writer.
Just like being able to design a good deck.
You think I'm kidding, but literally it will help an art director be able to focus on other more pertinent things if they can trust their copywriter to source images and put together a deck and write it, so that they can focus on other things.
Yeah. Have you ever cried at work?
Here or at my old job?
Either.
Yes to both, because of the job, my old job.
What was the scenario?
At my old job, I was just fresh. I mean, oh God. There was one time where somebody had it out for our creative team. But I kept my shit together in the room, and then I ran out of the room once the meeting was over, and just
Well, that's good. No one saw you.
Well, I mean, my partner did, Sarah Lowe. She saw it.
Yeah.
But there were plenty of times where I was also having to be the strong one in the relationship for her too. So, yeah.
She was our art director. She was your art director.
A designer here, and then was an art director in the real world. But as a design
Does that
teacher
happen a lot? Do designers go to art directors, or do art directors usually go to design? Which switch is more prevalent?
Well, it's kind of fluid because different people use different terms. They might be an art director by our definition standards, but they're called the designer. But designers at 22 were mostly helping well, that's not true. Start in on the concepting phase of some things, but then there were other things that people would hand off to them. But I will say that I think the designers were more highly trusted.
Which I think is kind of bullshit.
To finish something
and to execute. Yeah.
The GCD and the ECD were handing things to the designers before they were handing things to mid-level art directors to finish.
Yeah. And create a whole celebrity universe.
right?
And just
Like
get
your own brand.
so much money. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be good at that.
I'd be.
Can I parlay ad school into that? I don't know.
Well, good luck, because how I ended up in ad school was by my one dream of being a TV, like, talk show host. And
That'd
my
be
whole,
journalism school. Did you go to Grady?
I did.
Yeah.
So I went into the mass communications department, and I like showed up for school the first day and cried because it was like rolling cables and like all this stuff, and I was like, this is not what I want to do with my life. And I didn't realize that like changing your major was super easy, so I thought I made like some huge life altering failure of a decision.
Yeah.
But they were like, you can breathe, you just check this box and we'll switch you. And I was like, oh. I didn't realize it was that easy to change my life.
Like everyone has that like freak out moment in college when they like realize that they're like, hey, so what's cable rolling? What was that?
Like it was like rolling the cables for film.
Oh.
Like it was like literally a class on that, and like lighting and microphones. And I was like, I don't want to do that.
That's like really technical.
And then I like went down this weird windy path of like marketing and advertising, but then I also really loved childhood and family development, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a counselor or a psychologist.
Like are really interested in psychology, like in advertising in general, just because it's like getting behind why people behave the way they do. Why
Right.
they wanna...
Well, and I think it's different because somebody in my usually they're a lot better at talking than they are listening. Whereas like somebody that's really good at listening, I feel like you want to do the more like psychology, counseling, things like that.
Yeah.
People that are in advertising, like, yeah, you want to get through to people, but you want them to hear what you have to say.
Totally. And I would much rather be on that end of the conversation than listening to people's
like therapist advice, like where your therapist is kind of like, well, like a better way of basically saying, how'd that make you feel? I can't imagine. Like,
Which one's your favorite?
Like, what?
Out of all these, out of these concepts that you're presenting in class, which one's your favorite? How does that make you feel?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then you get into like the deep dive of like, well, I feel like I need to say this, but then I want to say this, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Can you say that again? I'm just fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
I don't even remember what I said. I also have short-term memory loss.
Same.
I think I just have memory loss.
Alzheimer's.
My mom got really mad at me for making that joke the other day because her mom did pass away from Alzheimer's, and I was like, my memory's getting so bad.
Did she remember?
If I asked her right now, I don't know.
I don't
Would
know.
she?
Okay, well, I think that's enough. Thank you for doing this.
I'm talking.
We might have to do this again, just FYI.